Good morning. Welcome. Welcome to the Board of Directors, shareholders, company secretary, regulators, our external auditor, PwC, special guests, members of the media, and everyone who has joined us remotely via live stream. Good morning and welcome to our 16th annual general meeting, which we're thrilled to be hosted in person for the first time in 2 years. Can you imagine? Welcome. Thank you, guys. While we're happy to be able to revert to our traditional format, our priority is the safety and well-being of all our stakeholders in attendance as we continue to navigate the ongoing pandemic as best as possible. We ask that everyone social distance and wear a mask throughout the proceedings. Our AGM notice, along with the proxy form and all accounts and reports necessary for the conduct of this meeting, were published on our website. The JSC's website, circulated via email to our shareholders for whom we have email addresses, and by registered mail to shareholders without email addresses. AGM advisories were also published in our local newspapers, and shareholders may view a copy of last year's AGM minutes on our website, supremeventures.com. I now wish to introduce the company secretary, Ms. Dion Reed. Stand, Dion, so them can see you.
Good morning.
And ask that she confirm that the required quorum of shareholders has been met.
Chairman, I confirm that there is a quorum for the meeting.
Thank you, Dion. I call this meeting to order. I move that the notice of the meeting be accepted and taken as read. Can I have a second? That looks like Mr. Rose. Thank you, David Rose. I now put a motion before the meeting. Please signify by raising hands. Those in favor? Those against? I declare the motion carried. Oh, you're just taking off your glasses. You weren't voting against it. I'm just troubling you, Leighton. I declare the motion carried. I now invite Ms. Lorna Gooden, our General Manager for Supreme Ventures, Racing and Entertainment, to offer a word of prayer. Lorna?
Mr. Chairman, members of the head table, directors, our valued shareholders, both in person and online, members of the management team and employees of SVG, good morning. Let us be reverent now as we bow our heads in prayer. Most High, we praise you that you are the supreme being who fulfill wonderful promises. We praise you that you promise life, peace, joy, and abundance. We are here to give thanks for making it through what was indeed a challenging year. In a world full of uncertainties resulting from the global pandemic, we are embracing a moment of triumph. We gather in gratitude as we recognize that the spirit of generosity and munificence upon this company. We pray for continued guidance and protection over the leadership and staff. We are thankful for the results of the past and all future blessings. Continue to remind us that all we do, all that we accomplish, is for the pursuit of the greater good and for the service of humanity. Guide today's proceedings, and as we leave to our respective abode, we ask your continued protection and blessings. Amen.
Thank you, Sister Lorna. I want to recognize and thank the members of the main and subsidiary boards for their dedicated service to the company, and recognize the following directors who are here this morning. Ms. Erlene Anderson, Messrs. Duncan Stewart, Walter Scott, Solomon Sharp, and Matthew Levy. Apologies on behalf of Messrs. David McConnell, Chris Berry, Nicholas Mutte, Brent Sankar, Damon Chinyu, Peter McConnell, who are unable to be physically present with us but have joined remotely today. I would now ask the members of the SVL team in the audience to stand and be recognized. These are the people, shareholders, that are working very, very hard for you. Thank you, guys. Have a seat. I also wish to recognize our 2021 auditors, PwC, represented today by Managing Partner Leighton McKnight. Leighton. And Trishan, welcome. Representatives from the Jamaica Stock Exchange, and our regulators, and representatives from IGT, as well as specially invited guests. Thank you all for being here. At the end of 2020, we hope that the worst of the pandemic was behind us. Unfortunately, 2021 taught us that we were really just at the start of the battle. The team rolled up its sleeves and faced another challenging year of hard work. This morning, I'm pleased to share with you the results of that hard work and give you a sneak peek into our strategic outlook and plans for the current year. We're proud of 2021's achievements and our ability to continue to deliver outstanding returns on your investment, and we want to thank you for your continuing faith in this company, Supreme Ventures Limited. Let me remind you of the pillars on which we built our 5-year strategy. Execution excellence, building strong relationships, and market leadership. At no point in our 20-year history have these directional strategies been more applicable or important. Our introduction of even more innovative products and channels have left us unchallenged as market leaders. Our expansion and growth strategies, coupled with our philanthropic endeavors, have further strengthened the SVL ecosystem and the relationships that have made the brand simply iconic. The country's economy has taken a battering over the past 24 months. Although the country has seen GDP growth in the last 3 quarters of 2021, we're still declining relative to 2020. Inflation has also taken a toll on the economy, with the fiscal year 2021-22 ending at approximately 11% compared to 5% in 2020 to 21. This has resulted in the Bank of Jamaica starting an aggressive increase in its policy rates in 2021. We all understand that there is not only a local, but a global economic crisis. Statistics show that over 50% of the companies never recover from this type of global negative impact. 10 to 15% see opportunity and grow their business, and the rest maintain their previous status. SVL's objective from the beginning was to be in the category of the 10 to 15%. And I think our first billion-dollar quarter of 2022 has shown unequivocally that we have blown that objective out of the water and have come out of the pandemic stronger and better than ever. Not even a little clap. We have indeed had yet another year of impressive results for SVL in the face of challenging economic climate. Gross ticket sales grew to $93.6 billion versus $76.3 billion in 2020, effectively a 22% increase. Our customers increased their winnings to a record-breaking $68 billion. We grew sports betting revenue to $4.6 billion from $2.6 billion, and our horse racing revenue jumped by an incredible 42%. It was really a phenomenal 20th anniversary across the SVL group. We increased gaming income by over $17 billion. Our net profit and EBITDA decreased marginally as testament to the amazing year of winnings enjoyed by our customers in 2021. SVL customer winnings increased over 30%, even as market conditions deteriorated due to the ongoing pandemic effect. EPS of 86.9 cents allowed shareholders to maintain healthy dividends of 80 cents for the 2021 financial year. SVL shareholder value remains strong, and we're highly motivated by the results. Total assets increased by $1.6 billion to over 10% to $17.2 billion in 2021. Our number of shareholders increased to 6,770 compared to 6,442 in the prior year. Total shareholders' equity, as at December 2021, increased by $30 million to close at $4.2 billion. Our total dividends increased to $2.1 billion, representing a dividend yield of approximately 4.5%. SVL remains one of the most valuable investments to our shareholders. Our SVL shareholders continue to see significant benefits from their investments. 2021 was a dynamic year for the stock market, facing global headwinds. However, our stock price held its value, closing at $17.79 per share. This was an increase over 2020 and set the stage for the exponential growth that we would see in 2022. I smile because I think I know where the price is now. As I indicated earlier, $68 billion in prizes paid out to our SVL customers in 2021, an increase of almost $17 billion. The Super Lotto and Lotto Winners Club welcomed 4 new members in 2021. One of those winners taking home approximately $260 million. I wonder if she related to me. Total jackpot winnings for the year was approximately $586 million. SVL continues to be a major contributor to Jamaica's economy, providing over $7 billion in commission and fees to over 1,400 retailers who are the engine of growth operating small businesses across the country. In addition, the company contributed $7.5 billion in taxes and contributions, which include our contribution to the Consolidated Fund and in turn, culture, health, arts, sports, and education, also known as CHASE. Let's take a look back at our philanthropic activities in 2021.
The year that was 2021. New normals, new lessons, new challenges, and new triumphs. While the nation adjusted to life with COVID-19, at the Supreme Ventures Foundation, we played our part to help more Jamaicans navigate their way through it. Powered by the pride and energy from our milestone 20-year anniversary, we had a memorable and supreme year of giving, gratitude, and goodwill. Let's take a look back. Our mission to make a positive and lasting impact on the lives of Jamaicans across the communities in which we operate led us to pursue initiatives that focused on the health and social welfare of our most vulnerable citizens. One of our main priorities was to continue rolling out our flagship fire safety program, installing life-saving equipment in an additional 10 children's homes across the island, and ensuring caregivers and their wards were trained in fire safety techniques. Safety wasn't the only item on the SVF agenda in 2021. Continuing our commitment to support children in state care and improve access to education, we invested $100 million in 20 high achievers to fulfill their dream of tertiary education. It was with great pride that we awarded full ride 4-year scholarships to our promising Jamaicans. They also received accommodation, school supplies, and other resources they needed to succeed. Our commitment to education didn't stop at the tertiary level. Through a landmark partnership with EduFocal, we supported 5,000 primary school students, preparing them for the challenging PEP exams. Each student received free internet access and access to the comprehensive online educational platform, which was invaluable at a time when so many were being left behind due to a lack of resources. We also recognized that our children were especially impacted by the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic. So the Supreme Ventures Foundation stepped up to ensure that they had some good old-fashioned fun. From ice cream treats to Christmas shopping, we offered a respite to our young people when they needed it most. Our track and field dynamos once again flew the Jamaican flag high on the global stage during their epic performances at the 2020 Olympic Games in Tokyo, Japan. The Supreme Ventures Foundation rewarded their commitment, talent, and sportsmanship by providing $30 million in investment accounts for those that medaled. This contribution towards the athletes' financial security was in partnership with the Jamaica Olympic Association and Mayberry Investments. But not all of Jamaica's heroes represent us on the global stage. Some heroes can be found in the nooks and crannies of the island, quietly stewarding positivity and goodwill and adding value to the lives of the people in their communities. The Foundation's Supreme Heroes program provided training and grant funding to the participants, and in 2021, we crowned our ultimate community hero, Jennifer Brown, from Miss Jenny's Corner Shop in Flankers, St. James, walked away with the top prize and bragging rights of being our very first Supreme Hero. Topping off a fulfilling year of activities were initiatives focused on supporting our nation's healthcare system and our most devoted caregivers. The Supreme Ventures Foundation donated over $13 million to renovate the doctors and nurses' operational and resting areas at Kingston Public Hospital, donated a $20 million state-of-the-art ultrasound machine to the University Hospital of the West Indies, and committed $15 million worth of essential equipment to the neonatal intensive care unit. The Supreme Ventures Vax and Win vaccination incentive program was another way that we indirectly supported our healthcare workers and directly impacted every Jamaican. By supporting the national effort to stop the spread and flatten the curve, Supreme Ventures made a tangible contribution to safeguarding the welfare of all Jamaicans while putting extra cash in some of their pockets. It was indeed an amazing year of giving back to our nation and supporting our people. In addition to our core business of gaming, entertainment, and business services, we believe it is our duty to harness our resources and empower our people to thrive. Because at Supreme Ventures, we're in the business of making winners every day.
Thank you. It was indeed a great year for the foundation, and we're very proud of those initiatives. I also want to take the time to thank the directors of the foundation, who all of this wouldn't happen without their approval. Heather Golson, Chris Berry, and Chairman Peter McConnell. Thank you guys for the work that you've done in 2021. On June 25th, 2021, we celebrated our 20th anniversary as Jamaica's leading gaming provider. We could not have achieved this milestone without our committed team, our loyal retailer network, and our passionate customers as we celebrated in style with all stakeholders. We have here today one of the founding members, partners, shareholder of Supreme Ventures, Mr. Ian Levy. Ian, I don't know if you would like to stand so you can be recognized. He still looks like he's 20, eh? So we know he'll be with us for another 20 years to bring the Supreme life, or continue to bring the Supreme dream to life. Thank you, Ian. A big part of that dream is the growth of our subsidiaries and segments. Let us take a closer look at these subsidiaries. Prime Sports Jamaica Limited is a subsidiary that powers Supreme Ventures gaming brands, lottery products, sports betting, and Acropolis online and casino products. Prime Sports has performed very well in 2021, having been adversely impacted by the pandemic constraints. Prime Sports basically is a company that runs the lottery. So the lottery and numbers game continue to be a strong contributor to overall results, showing a segment result of $3.3 billion based on gross ticket sales of approximately $64 billion, an increase of almost 21%. Gross ticket sales from lotteries accounted for 68% of overall gross sales compared to 69% in 2020. Sports betting sales continued to be a key growth segment and increased by almost 51% over 2021. Sports betting income increased by over 100%. This follows the continued global trend of growing interest in sports and skill-based gaming. During the year, we launched Charge Up, our new prepaid top-up channel. Products offered through Charge Up so far are Digicel, Flow, including the bundle plans, Ready TV. We also launched Acropolis Online, our online casino-type gaming platform. The popular Mega Ball feature was added to our Pick 3, Pick 4, and Hot Pick games. Our retail network expansion continued, welcoming over 220 new retailers into the Supreme Ventures family, the highest in our company's history. In addition, we opened our 8th company-owned store in Fairview, Montego Bay in November of 2021, cementing our presence in the West. PIN codes, Digicel and Flow Top-Up recorded revenues of $11.6 billion. Demand for data, reduced talk time, and free Wi-Fi contributed to the revenue performance. The segment produced a positive result of $214 million in 2021, an impressive result in a sector facing significant external pressure. SVL has invested over $3.6 billion in Caymanas Park. You hear that, David? Read it again. SVL has invested $3.6 billion in Caymanas Park and its related ecosystem since the acquisition of the operations in 2017. The contract actually called for $500 million in 5 years. I think we kind of passed that. The required 5-year target, as I indicated, was surpassed in the second year of the acquisition and has now been beat by over $100 million at the 4-year mark. Sorry. The SVRL team have done a phenomenal job in improving the operations of Caymanas Park for the good of Jamaican racing. We now feel confident that the horse racing community sees and supports our vision, and we have more of a cohesive team effort working towards a sustainable goal. SVL remains committed to investing in the further growth and development of the product, and we are on a growth path which we know will take Caymanas Park to profitability very soon. We suggest to the government that now is the perfect time to get more involved in supporting horse racing at the community level. We're proud to highlight some of the multiple infrastructural improvements that SVL has invested in at Caymanas Park. The major upgrade of the water distribution system, the implementation of a state-of-the-art stable management software, increasing the number of 2-day race carnivals, expanding mobile betting participation. Caymanas is excited to have created almost 40 millionaires since the start of 2021 through strategic product enhancements. Sorry, that should be 22. Despite the continued impact of COVID-19 risk management measures, 2021 has been an extraordinary year of growth at Caymanas Park. Gross revenue year over year increased by 43% to approximately $8 billion. We are focused on reshaping the Caymanas product, introducing new bet types, finessing the product, leading to an increase in live racing of 57% to approximately $1.7 billion. Our simulcast revenue has increased by 23% to approximately $3 billion, and we have seen tremendous growth in mobile betting, which has improved by over 32%. Ladies and gentlemen, as you have seen, we have set the stage, created a momentum, ensured we are prepared for the opportunities ahead. 2022 will see even more investment and exponential growth. Investment in the technological infrastructure, growth in existing markets and product lines, investment in our human resource capacity, both internal and external, and investment in our operation capabilities. We thank all of our customers, our retail network, who have remained very loyal to us. Thank you. Despite the onset of COVID-19, our first quarter performance saw a net profit of $1 billion for the first time in the company's history. The solid operating results in all segments contributed to the 67% growth in net profit. The EPS increased to approximately 40 cents and compared to 22 cents per share in the same period last year. Yes, we have had a successful 2 years and a great first quarter of 2022. As a company, we are, however, never complacent. SVL is continuously looking forward and moving forward. We're winning at supreme speed, and 2022 will see even more innovation and expansion across the group. We're excited that this year, Supreme Ventures FinTech will roll out additional products under its new financial services brand, Evolve. We'll have bill payment services, loans, and microfinance type products. This is a significant next step in our growth and sustainable strategy. We've been laser focused on ensuring that our core business of lottery and gaming is always innovating and evolving. The market response to the launch of Supreme Scratchers and Mingler Scratch Me in Q1 can only be described as phenomenal. We exceeded our 6-month targets in a matter of weeks. The product has proven popular and in high demand from every socioeconomic group across the country, and it has only been in the market for 2 months. We will continue to roll out new and interesting scratch-off cards to the market periodically, always providing the highest level of entertainment to our customers. Our newest top-up channel, Charge Up, is expanding, and we currently offer top-up services for Digicel, Flow, Ready TV, and Edifocal, with much more to come. Significant investments in Caymanas Park are coming on board for 2022. Commission of the new well happens in the second quarter. Unveiling of the new digital screen, which I know as a tote board, will also be done in the second quarter. Implementation of the new sustainable solar energy system becomes operational in the third quarter. Caymanas Park will have other major announcements during the year, but them asked me not to spoil the surprise. However, we continue to believe in and support the growth of our most recent acquisitions and geographic expansions. We're 3/4 of the way through completing our flagship fire safety installation program, with a final 10 homes to complete in 2022. The second cohort of Supreme Heroes has recently launched, and we look forward to crowning a second ultimate community hero this year. Our projects at the KPH and the UA Hospital wrapped up in the first quarter, and our scholarship recipients are peacefully settled in their first year of matriculation. We've also committed over $665 million in fees to Chase through the Consolidated Fund just for the first quarter of 2022. We're very proud of how the business performed in 2021, our 20th year of operations, and we are just as proud, if not more proud, if there's such a word, to the exciting start to 2022. It has really been an action-packed period, and the SVL team has been more than up for the challenge. I want to recognize every single member of Team Supreme for the role they continue to play in ensuring we come through this difficult period stronger than ever. We're also gratified that the market has not been distracted, proving that we do offer Jamaica's favorite games, as demonstrated by the retention of our market share. By strengthening our infrastructure and capacity, we've been able to realize the latent potential of all of our traditional core business lines. Sports betting, horse racing, lottery and gaming have seen exponential growth. Our digital universe has expanded with multiple products and channels, and all KPIs are showing positive growth indicators. The economic activity generated by the Supreme Ventures ecosystem continues to grow and generate beneficial ripple effects across Jamaica's commercial landscape. We have in turn built strong, comprehensive, and focused philanthropic support programs that not only assist the most vulnerable in our society, but invests in and gives back to the communities in which we operate. As market leaders in the gaming industry, we are positioned as a strong, stable group of companies, ready to leverage the springboard that has been carefully built over the last 5 years. The Supreme Ventures Group is heading nowhere but up, and we are ready and well equipped for the journey to the next level. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now at our favorite section where you're able to ask your questions. If you have a question or a point to make, I would be grateful if you could make your way to the standing microphones and observe social distancing as you line up to ask your questions. As you begin, please state your name and whether you're a shareholder or a proxy. If you're a proxy, please state your name and the name of the shareholder you represent, then go ahead with the question.
The
morning. Can you hear me?
Let me turn on the mic.
Can you hear me now? Still. Can you hear me? Better now? All right. Good morning. My name is David Rose, shareholder. Morning.
I don't know if you could take off your mask so we can hear you better.
Of course. Morning. My name is David Rose. I'm a shareholder. Morning to the members, shareholders in this case. Morning to the SEL team, the board of directors, and everybody else watching virtually or from wherever part of the world they are.
Oh, you sound so shy.
I'm not shy. Relax.
That is what I mean. So you start
No.
talking.
You have to understand, it's just general courtesies. So let's start rolling backwards near the presentation. So I'm going to go in backwards until I get to the top.
I don't know if it's me, but I'm not hearing you.
Oh, so sorry about that. Can you hear better now?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to be going
So
back.
I can eat now. Right.
So I'm going to be going backwards in your presentation and asking questions.
Sure.
So the first one would be with respect to Evolve. So you mentioned, bill payments, loans, and so forth.
Yes.
So could you give more color on that with respect to everything that's going on? Because I know that would require BOJ approval and so forth.
Yeah, so Evolve is a microfinance loan product. It's a digital product. It's supported or it's powered by an artificial intelligence. So we currently have it rolled out within our retailer network. And once we complete that pilot, we're looking to expand it outside of the retailer network. SV FinTech is the company that is going to have all of those online products that we referred to. In some instances, yes, you're going to need BOJ approval for some of the stuff, but there are other businesses which will be rolled out literally by next month that would not necessarily need that approval.
So that brings me back to the question also, is it that the case where, because it's an internal testing right now, you wouldn't need BOJ approval in that case? With respect to testing internally with the network with regards to bill payments and loans?
Yes, so we mentioned different products. So for example, at this point in time, you don't need a license to operate a microfinance business. After July, you need to be licensed by the BOJ. Yeah, so you can actually start the business now. In the case of charge-up, you don't need a BOJ license to deal with charge-up. There are other things that might need a BOJ license, but when we get there, you will see.
So, a follow-up question is coming, but that brings me to the question with respect to Michaela Finance.
Yes.
Where are they along the timeline?
So, as I indicated, Evolve is an online product.
No, but talking about the microcredit license.
Right. So, Evolve is the online microfinance business. Michaela, for want of a better word, is a fixed location microfinance business. Yeah? And so what we've done initially, whilst we tested Evolve, we kept Evolve just within our retailer network, whilst Michaela satisfies the entire public. We're now getting to a stage where we're now going to put Evolve into the public space. So it's one of they're competitors, but they're owned by the same people.
They're basically synergistic companies that operate in one space.
They've said it bright enough.
Relax. So that brings a follow-up question then. Would that be the case whereby SBL looks towards the remittances in essence? Because would SBL be looking to the remittances in essence? I don't know if you want
to raise the mic, because for some reason you keep going low.
I was asking if would it be the case whereby SBL will be going to remittances in essence in the future based on this integrated system you're building out right now? Asking about remittances, Gary.
And I'm answering you. Next.
All right. So let's go back even further. So with respect to charge-up,
yes.
You mentioned Edifocal and these other entities.
Yes.
So is it the case whereby you've been working with other entities, or you've been aggressively working to reach to more companies to become that opportunity for, as in this case, charge-up?
Yes. Yes. So I'll explain it this way, which will probably answer a lot of the questions before you ask any more of them. The average person sees SVL as a lottery company. We don't see SVL that way. We see SVL as a transaction platform with lottery bolted on. And basically what the shareholders will see systematically over increments of 6 months to a year, we'll be bolting on additional businesses onto that transaction platform. So ChargeUp is one such business. So with ChargeUp, as you see, we retail stuff for Flow, Digicel, Ready TV, and Edufocal. So we are constantly on the lookout for additional businesses to put on the ChargeUp platform, but also on the transaction platform that powers SVL.
Thanks. So, with respect to Caymanas, which has been your joyous topic of such display, you mentioned the $3.6 billion in total investments. So the first question is, was there a planned CapEx spend with respect to Caymanas when you initially took over operations in 2017?
Yes. So when SVL took over Caymanas in 2017, it was based on an approved plan at that point in time. But that plan has changed and evolved over time. And I think especially with the advent of Chairman Sharp and Lorna as General Manager, we have settled on a different plan which has been driving significant benefits, and we have been seeing significant benefits from it. And as that plan was put together, it gave us the confidence to increase the pace of our investment in Caymanas, which will continue to increase going forward.
Thanks. So, to continue to expand on that, how is the progression of the top board for this month, or is it next month?
That's a good question, because I keep asking that same question. But I have been promised, I don't want these people not looking at me, but I have been promised that I cannot get to June 30 and the tote board is not operational.
Oh, thanks, Lorna.
Right? What I can say to you, it's a game changer. I don't know if you've been out to Caymanas, the screen itself is up. It's world class. You go to most world class racetracks in the world out there, you will see a screen of similar type. And I think it opens up revenue opportunities because people can advertise on the screen, etc. So I think it's one of the game changers for Caymanas when it is up and operational. But it should be up by June 30. Right. I don't see how them can miss June, right?
Right.
Good.
No, because I remember yesterday it should have been in the next 2 months, and 2 months reach already, so.
Again?
Yeah.
It will be up by June 30.
She's going to have your head, not mine.
Hey! No, man, it'll be there. You know, as with most projects, you find things on the way, and I don't think the tote board is any different from most projects. And it's part of the learning. So, you know, from my perspective, my question is, Jesus Christ, you can't put up a TV. But unfortunately, that's not the case. You had to construct a base, you have the electricals, this, etc. And at the end of the day, one of the mantras that we have, it is better to get it right the first time. If it might cost a little bit more money, let us spend the money. If it costs a little bit more time, let's do it. Because once we put it in, we're looking at anywhere from 20 to 30 years of revenues from that alone. So don't rush it. Create a problem for yourself year after year.
And that brings me back to another complimentary question in respect to Caymanas. In this case, would there be no more curfew? How has the recovery been with respect to streaming the signal for Caymanas? And have you identified other markets to stream the signal?
Yeah, it's been positive. And I mean, if you think about it, yeah, one of the biggest impact we faced was from the tracks on the west side of the U.S. Because they're about 5 hours behind our time. So when you got to the curfew, we lost out on those tracks. So once the curfew has been lifted, we're back to regular programming where you'd be viewing those tracks up to 11 o'clock in the night. And it's one of the reasons you've seen the significant growth in revenue out at Caymanas. And it's important I say this because the revenue is not the end all for our management of Caymanas. So you spoke about the plan before. That's one of the key things that we changed in the previous plans. We invest in things that gives us an immediate return or a return in relatively short order. And that's why we're seeing a significant increase in the revenue. And What that has done is it has allowed us to give more back to the punter. So even though we're seeing significant revenue increases, it doesn't necessarily mean what we look at, it's what we refer to it as GGR, but simply put, it's sales minus the prices that you pay out to the customer. That differential is what we use to run the business. And the growth in that is much less than the growth you see on the top line. So what we've done, you get a 30% increase or 40% increase in the top line. We're paying most of that increase back out to the punter. So when you go to Caymanas, the punters are very excited about horse racing because they're winning more. And so that's a deliberate strategy on our part. But what it does, what is left for us doesn't allow us to do as much as we could. But our view is that we want to grow the revenue significantly more before we can take a bit more out of the give back. So right now, the punters are in paradise.
No, the reality is if we don't keep the operations up with respect to the stakeholders, then the entire thing fails. It's like a house of cards.
There you go.
So, to follow up
I
on,
wish we could put you in front of a negotiating team and you tell some people.
we can negotiate that right now.
No problem. Next question.
Sure. I remember that SVL had acquired a 10% stake in Main Event Entertainment Group Limited.
Yes.
And in, I think it was 2020 or 2021, June, I can't remember which year, you had worked out an agreement with Chukka to, introduce more tours to Caymanas.
Yes.
So, the first question is, one, with respect to that joint venture company with Main Event, where's on the strategy right now? So I'll give the question each one by one. So
Right. So Main Event has worked out very well. The first phase has worked out very well, which you should know.
I see it, $3.50 and it's at $8 for a stock price right now. So you're up almost call it $20-40 million in unrealized gains, which comes on your P&L.
Thank you for that. So that part of it has gone very well, in that the price has recovered and the company has benefited significantly from that initial investment. As it pertains to the other strategic moves, you're going to see some stuff on that in the short term. And we're now out of the pandemic, and those opportunities that we discussed, we've put the plans in place. It's just now to execute them.
So basically, that German Japan is in the works, but not immediately until there's some more clarity in the environment.
Okay, you can ask.
No. That's why I asked.
Yeah, so as I said, like with everything, I mean, the first phase has gone well. We've made the investment. We're making a big profit from the investment. So we're now on to the second phase, which is how do we integrate Main Event to SVL and what we're doing. So some of that is happening behind the scenes. I mean, Main Event is the people that are putting this on. So there's a lot of partnerships that we're doing that is not necessarily available or seen by the average person out there. But there's more to go. I mean, the integration continues. And I think within a year, you will see more, what's the word I'm trying to find? It'll be easier for you to see that SVL is part of the DNA of Main Event.
Or just call it, or just come to the next AGM and ask you straight.
Well, you could do that too.
So, the part with respect to Chukka and other companies, how is that going in terms of making Cayman
So
more
I think the
complementary?
pandemic impacted those negotiations a lot. And now we're back to, or we think we're back to a semblance of, normalcy. As you know, we're in the midst of a fifth wave, so anything that requires the movement of people and ultimately to make profit from the mass movement of people, you're going to have to think twice about it, yeah? So even though there is no official mandate, I mean, we have social distancing in here, and it's probably going to take some time. Outside of that, we have agreements with other entities who had indicated and actually had started to bring tourists to Caymanas, but COVID has impacted that. What I would say, you would see that aspect of revenue generation probably up and running real time and kicking by 2023, subject to us becoming extremely comfortable with the whole COVID environment.
Hopefully I can get a chance to go to Cayman at least once. I know I've been there before.
I can invite you. You can come Saturday.
Sure. Okay, I'll take the right now. I'm following you to the
You
track.
just tell me you and your significant other. Lorna will certainly host you in the directors lounge. As a matter of fact, any shareholder that would want to go to Caymanas, just send us an email, Lorna or Solomon. Lorna, you can leave your email. And you're welcome to join us in our director's box, because horse racing, believe it or not, is a very good day you can spend on a Saturday or Sunday.
Like Formula One.
Well, as I said, it's a different way. Something, if you're not a horse racing purist, it's a day for you to enjoy. Something different. It's not the movies, but it's just as good.
Hey, at least with the movies, you have more privacy.
But like I said, send me a note or send Lorna a note.
All right,
and
so
we will arrange a parking. And when you come, it's food. The food is on us. The excitement is on us. We just ask that you don't jump up too much if your horse wins.
Sure. Just to follow up on that, I remember back when COVID happened, you guys were publishing the monthly reports of Caymanas. Will that start back again?
We've looked on it, and I think the challenge we face there, because it's part of a group, and one of the things we abide very closely to is the JSE rules. And as you know, we publish the numbers on a quarterly basis. And so, there are a little uncomfortableness about posting as a subsidiary numbers. So we need to revisit it.
No, so why not just publish it when they publish it simultaneously when the courts are
Again, we can look at that.
No, because at least the thing is, because the Caymanas operations, in this case, horse racing, is subsued under the sports betting segment,
right,
isn't like I'm able to actually see the visuals like you do from your seat.
No, I agree. I'm just saying, now that we're back there, it's something that we'll take under advisement.
And that brings me back to another question: is Michaela profitable? Michaela Financial Services.
It's break even.
Because the thing is, in the financial statements, there's no breakup by the NCI for those subsidiaries.
Right.
So, I just say they lost part, but I can't tell,
No, I agree. But as I said, it's easier for you to know how well investments in Main Event is going because it's a public company. But companies like Michaela, etc., they're growing, and they'll make money as we go along. And, it's one of the things I didn't speak to in the presentation, right? When you're in the midst of a pandemic, the first thing you think about is safety. And so we have a million different expansion plans, activities, etc. And we basically slowed the majority of those to get through the pandemic. So what you're seeing now, and you see the first phase of it in the first quarter with $1 billion profit, we're now back to a position where we're basically lighting fires under all the subsidiary heads for everybody now to go full board. Yeah? And I can tell you the CEO, Delroy Josephs, he doesn't like when he looks on his phone and he sees Gary Peart. Because I'm right there with him, and he has promised me, Delroy, where are you? Let everybody see you. And he has promised me that he will not disappoint me and my KPI for 2022. So the same is true of all subsidiaries. So as we speak, the majority of the subsidiaries are all making money.
No, yeah. But thanks for that still, because when I saw Caymanas did during the pandemic, I was like, wow, that's pretty good.
Yep.
Hopefully, Mr. Jones, we would actually like to get a chance to speak one of these times when the AGM is getting close to conclusion, because he's the man in the background. We don't see him, but hey, who wouldn't mind?
But you can talk to him. He talks a mile a minute.
And a friend sent me a message in the group a while ago how someone bought $37 million worth of SVL a while ago.
Sorry, go again?
So a friend sent me a message in the group a Telegram group a while ago where someone has bought $37 million worth of Supreme Ventures. So, people are confident in what you're doing.
$37 million?
Of the stock.
Oh.
Yeah, just one order.
That was you?
No,
Congrats.
that's not me.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, there are people, a shareholder came to me last week, and he made the point. When we came to the board in October 2017, the stock was around $9, and they made the point that they invested in SVL then because our people or group, whatever you want to call it, were now involved in SVL. And they made a point to me that when they calculate the dividends now, based on the price at which they come in, the dividend yield is north of 20%, which is massive. So, you can be that shareholder that sits and watches it, or you can be the shareholder that get on the bus, and enjoy the ride.
Or take a yacht like your colleague.
Well, you know, he spends his money in a different way.
We should cut teams at AGM again, but we can wish.
Sure, no. You start somewhere, you know. You have to start somewhere. You start with the first dollar, and the dollar will grow. As to how you spend it, nobody can tell you how to spend it, right?
Hey, let's talk about your great game scratchers, because
Yes.
it's come like the new quote-unquote hot KFC, just to give the description.
KFC, no, it's not.
No, it's scratcher literally like KFC, like no matter what you literally piece of people complain about prices, them still buy KFC. Every time you look on social media, somebody buy scratchers.
Right.
Just to show you that you're doing a great job. I have to ask everybody to clap the Supreme Ventures team, because
Yeah, Supreme and IGT, our technology partners. That's headed by Debbie Green. She's behind you. Hi, Debs. You can stand and everybody can see you. So Debbie heads IGT here in Jamaica. And so her marketing team plus our marketing team headed by Heather Golson, if she can stand.
hey, oh, that's it though. I thought she was Lorena earlier.
Sorry?
I thought she was Lorena.
You thought what?
I thought she was Lorena.
Lorna.
Yeah, I thought she was Lorena earlier, that's why.
Oh, without the heels. Yeah. So Heather and her team, as well as IGT, are the persons responsible for that. And I mean, there's no way we could have planned for what happened, but we're just thankful and blessed that it really was a success, and we continue to manage it.
I was going to ask, can you keep up now? Because SPL introduced a $1,000 scratcher, and I'm like, you're going to introduce a $2,000 scratcher next? Because you guys are just going hard and keep getting better.
You're asking if $1,000 scratcher?
No, I
is
saw
next?
it. I said you guys introduced a $1,000 scratcher now. And
Yes. So you have a problem with Nintendo?
No. I said this. I wonder if you're going to use a $2,000 one next, because you just.
Oh, you reach a 2,000 now?
Hey.
No, I mean, if the market asks for it, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, we give people what they want.
So how are you managing now? 'Cause I remember that the demand was so crazy high that you couldn't keep up. Have you kept to put the demand
we're
again?
managing now. I mean, you know, it has pulled back a little, you know, in terms of the whole euphoria, etc. But as I said, those two ladies are working on things to push it even higher. You know, what people don't understand, you know, the beautiful thing about SVL and Team SVL is we're not afraid to come with new products to challenge existing products. You know, so even though we are the market leader, we don't sit back and say, hey, we're not going to try and challenge Cashpot. We take the position that it is better for us to come with a product to whether cannibalize or challenge our other products than if somebody else does it. And the team has been very, very good at being able to do that. You know, so we continue and hope to be blessed to be able to find other exciting and innovative products. So, you know, if you put it in perspective, the pace at which Team Supreme is putting out new products, innovations, etc., at no other time in the history of the company have we been able to do that. And as we speak, there are several more that are to be launched.
And I was actually going to fall back to SP FinTech. I've only seen minor articles. I haven't seen a kind of full-blown description as to what SP FinTech it does. So I remember that, you know, it's supposed to be able to disburse, you're supposed to be able to disburse loans digitally and so forth. But can you give a concept of SP FinTech? And
I thought I did already. I said it's a digital platform, and FinTech is just that financial technology. And it will allow us to go into places that the company is not in now. You know, the reason I'm being coy is that we're on the verge of, you know, putting out other stuff, you know. But I think within a year, SV FinTech and its products are going to be very well known by the Jamaican public.
All right, I have a few other questions left. You enjoyed the questions so far, Gary?
Oh, I'm just answering. You're a shareholder. I work for you.
Come on, Gary, but you're actually enjoying all these
It's
discussions.
not like you're giving me ice cream to eat. But what you could do, you could take a pause and we ask somebody else to ask questions and you could come back up again.
Sure.
All right, thank you, David. Any other question?
Morning.
Good morning.
I am Pat Ramiki, a shareholder. May I ask why are there so few booklets?
Were they who?
So few booklets that we can look at.
Oh, annual report. They were distributed. I think it was based on the projection of
You mean you weren't
attendees.
expecting me?
Sorry?
You weren't expecting me?
Oh, no, I was expecting you. But we weren't sure what the turnout would be.
Pleasant good morning. My name is Lancel Bloomfield, shareholder. Mr. Chairman, I have a few questions and a few comments. First question, page 114, note 3A.
Page 101?
Page 114, note 3A. Trade receivables.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, since SVL is a gaming company, what account for this amount of 1.66 billion in receivables?
Sorry?
Since SVL is a gaming company,
Yes.
what accounts for this amount of 1.66 billion in trade receivables?
Okay. So, Lancel, you understand what trade receivables are?
Yes, sir.
And they are, what is it?
Is what is owed to the company.
Correct. So what happened is that we distribute our products to our retailers, and we give them a credit period that on average is 7 days. So this is the amount of money that is owed by the retailers over that 7-day window.
Okay. Page 132, note 11.
132.
Expenses by nature.
Yes.
Please clarify this amount of 307.9 million for professional fees and what are the services it covers?
Professional fees, that's legal fees, etc. So during the course of the year, we have a set of professionals that provide services to us, and we have to pay them.
Understood. Page 132, note 11, expense by nature. Mr. Chairman, the auditor remuneration has climbed from 49.6 million in 2020 to that of 54.12 million in 2021. What accounts for this increase at this time?
So late Matt Knight is right beside you. It's what I would say to you, and the quickest answer to that. The differential is about a little bit under 10%, and as you know, inflation is at 11%. I didn't want to explain it that way because later might ask for more money, but it's in line with inflation. Sorry? Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, in relation to the horse race track,
Caymanas, yes.
Caymanas, I've looked on the website and I've seen a betting mark SWB. What exactly is a SWB bet? Because I have not seen any clarification.
SWB?
SWB.
Okay. Huh? You got that, Lanza?
Single window bonus. Could somebody explain what? So how does it work? Because there's no explanation on the website.
Oh, it's for those avid horse racing bettors.
I'm one of them.
You're one of them?
Yes, sir.
All right, 1 second. Come then. Come, Chris. Yeah. So just introduce yourself.
Morning, everyone. Christopher Wills, ICT. Morning, everyone. Christopher Wills, ICT Manager. I'm going to use maybe our most popular bet, the Reggae 6, to explain how the single winner jackpot or bonus works. So we seed the bet with a minimum guarantee. Currently it's at $2.5 million. And after person's wager, the jackpot builds. In order to win that single winner component, we have to have one single winner, right? So in most scenarios, you'll have multiple winners. So it means that that jackpot will grow. When it reaches a particular amount, we have a mandatory payout day. Recently, that was last Saturday, and this has created for us a lot of excitement, and we have a lot of big winners. As you hear Chairman mentioned earlier, we have a record amount of millionaires. That component is what is stimulating the betting.
So give him a dollar value so he can understand. So the last single winner, how much did they win?
The last single winner off memory, it's about, I'd say $8 million. 1 punter winning.
Yeah.
I thank you for that explanation, but I would have loved to see on the website something to indicate to the punters how you go about purchasing this bet, because
1 second, he's going to answer you.
I asked at the OTB in Crossroad,
Correct.
and no one was able to explain this to me.
There is, in fact, a FAQ, frequently asked questions, section on the website. We'll probably just improve the visibility and ensure that it's easier to access.
So thank you, Chris. Lancel, I want to thank you for that observation. Lorna and the team will work, because if you are an avid bettor and you're not aware, it is our job for you to understand. So again, I thank you very much for that. And we will look on how we are distributing and communicating the information. So as Chris indicates, we'll make it easier for you to understand that and other things.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My last two comments. The scratch and win game. I note that it has started at per ticket $200.
No, it starts at 100.
Pardon me?
It starts at 100.
Okay. But what I want to address is the tickets for $200.
Okay.
Could there be a lowering of the cost to say at least $100?
There is one for $100.
To make it easier for more punters to participate in the game.
But there is one for $100.
There is one.
There are actually four. There are three now in the market for $100. And that's actually where we get most of the participation.
So could you broaden the base a bit?
We have. I think what the issue may be is that where you're going to buy your ticket, they might not have the $100 when you go there. But most retailers have the $100 ticket. So the next time you go, ask them for the $100 ticket.
All right, I appreciate that, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome.
And my last comment, Mr. Chair. A few AGMs ago, I made a comment and I congratulated your outlet at the State Mall, Supreme Venture outlet.
Right.
To be, and still is, one of the cleanest place, one of the best places you get good service. And I would like to say that it has always been my favorite place of purchasing my dollars game.
Yes.
However, quite recently, I have been there, and a few persons, not all, a few persons, I took my $1 change, $1, purchased my dollars game, and I was told to don't take back any more $1 there. Always come with $1. So I am wondering what is the reason for it, because I know the $1 is still a legal tender in Jamaica.
Right.
And And a slim gentleman, I don't know the gentleman's name, but he has worked there for quite some time. And some new ladies that I've seen there, not the older ones. They don't wear name tags, so I can't say who the person is. But I have been rejected. I had to go somewhere else. So I am saying it from now, sir, that I would like someone to speak with them to ask them to cease and desist that practice.
So I thank you for that. On behalf of SVL, I want to apologize for that experience because it should not have happened. I will take all your $1 coins if you want, but we will definitely investigate it and find out what the situation is. But SVL and all its retailers and outlets accept all legal tender, and you are correct. The dollar coin is legal tender, and we accept it.
Thank you for that, sir.
You're welcome.
And I tell you, I have said it before when we had the AGM at the Spanish court.
Correct.
That it's a model institution for all the SVL to come up to, that place in particular.
Yes.
And if we could get all the SVL outlet at the standard of that outlet,
yes,
then it would be a wonderful thing. But I certainly don't want persons because it's not all the while.
Right.
I'll take a $1, sometime I'll have a $10 in art. But I certainly don't want persons to look down on us because
Agreed.
we take our $1 coin and we purchase our bets.
Agreed. I hear you, and I promise you it will be thoroughly investigated, but you have no concerns. We accept all legal tender, and we'll address it. All right? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
My name is Arthur Ellison.
Yes, sir. In jacket
I
today.
have a few shares. Best of all, I've made a little bit of profit of selling some that I had before. So I'm looking forward to being able to both buy and sell as the shares appreciate. But most of all, I'm interested in your saying and giving the meeting a full understanding of what the competition and the new atmosphere in which we operate is likely to be. Also, I believe you were considering a company in Guyana or somewhere like that. Will you want to tell us what we might expect the growth of our company to become because of that activity?
Sure. So we have a subsidiary in Guyana that has been operating there for several years. The company continues to grow. It's not where we want to have it, but we're continually looking at different ways to improve the outcome of that company. Not only Guyana, as you know, we had invested in South Africa. We beamed the signal to South Africa. Unfortunately, that deal was consummated about a month before COVID hit. South Africa has been impacted significantly by COVID, but also the authorities in South Africa, the things that they have put in place has impacted the gaming business in South Africa significantly. So now that we're coming out of COVID, that's one of the things that you heard me allude to before, that we can revisit and start to push to try and make some significant revenues from that. So both Guyana and South Africa are in that same box. I indicated that 2022, you're going to see a side of the company that a lot of people have never seen. The first quarter of $1 billion is the start of that. You hear me? Right.
I'm hearing a little bit.
Right. The first quarter is the start of that. You've seen $1 billion. And what it shows is that the economy, as the economy comes back and becomes more vibrant, we expect to build on that first quarter momentum.
All right. Thank you there. The one other thing that is very important to, I believe, all of us as shareholders is seeing the stock value appreciate. It did a little bit better in the recent past than it is doing currently.
Right. Yeah. But what's the question?
Well, my expectation is what comment you'd make on that and give us a guide as to what to look forward to?
Well, it's not my practice to give forward-looking statements, but what I'll say to you, one of the reasons I find SVL to be a very good stock to invest in is that even if you don't see the capital appreciation in a particular year, it pays one of the best dividends in the marketplace.
Yes,
so it's the
indeed.
gift that keeps on giving, but it becomes even a better gift when you have a year like 2022, where it started at $17, and I understand it is traded anywhere between $28 and $30. So that type of increase is pretty good, 40, 50%, plus increased dividends. Boy, Santa Claus really is disguised as SVL.
Well, you know, there are some people who always look forward to more and more dividends.
Yes.
Personally, I look forward to more and more capital appreciation of the stock.
Well, you're getting both this year.
I'm looking forward to your being able to continue pushing it that way.
Thank you. With the support of the team, I'm sure we'll be able to.
All the best, and thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, Mr. Rose. Nobody else has any other questions before we bring back David? Let's go, D.
Not sure as yet.
The mask.
Can you hear me properly again?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Wait, you guys can hear me? I have to just check and make sure you guys can hear me.
When they can't hear, they'll tell you.
All right.
So I pick up a stone every time I can't hear. That's true.
So far we've spoken about everything, but I haven't spoken with Mr. Chung about his subsidiary. So when you want him to give an update on Stream Venture Services Limited.
So you don't have to look at him for him to hear you. So just focus on the
I have
mic.
to look at him so you can know what I'm speaking about.
No, but you know you're talking about him. But what I'm saying, when you turn to the side, your voice goes low.
Understand.
So we're not hearing.
Yeah, so Mr. Chung, would you want to get an update on Stream Venture Services Limited and what your plans are for 2022?
So David, address the question to me.
Apologies. Mr.
Yes.
Chair, can Mr. Chung please speak about the plans for Supreme Bench? Can Mr. Chung speak about the plans? Can Mr. Chung speak about the plans for Supreme Venture Services Limited in 2022?
Oh, so you prefer Dennis to tell you. All right, no problem. Come, Dennis. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, it's active now. All right. Yeah, so you know, SVSL is really the arm of the company that deals with the services behind the scenes. So, and we also have a revenue side, which is the business hub, which has been going. It has been going well, I think. I mean, not where we want it to be, but it has been going well. And on the services side, we basically continue to support the organization. So, you know, hopefully they appreciate all we do, and we hope that we're a part of that $1 billion that was made by supporting behind the scenes. So that's all we can do. I mean, as we continue 2022, what we're going to try and do is improve on those things.
So with respect to the business hub, I recall the partnership with JMB. Are there other companies you're looking to partner with or organizations to provide your services to?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So we've partnered with JMB. We partnered with DBJ also. We're working with DBJ. And there are some other entities that we've looked at partnership with, venture capital companies and so.
Thank you, Mr. Chung. Mr. Peart? Enjoy the break?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
I'm getting enjoyed the break a while ago.
And that's why I said yes, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman and the shareholder.
No? Anyway, go ahead, Dave. What's up?
So, with respect to SV REIT Limited.
Yes.
So is it that the subsidiaries are just acquiring the real estate among the group, or is it that, because I remember you spoke about SV REIT recently, but with respect to the subsidiary having all the real estate assets under its umbrella, how is that process done?
Yeah, so SV REIT is just a simple limited liability company that owns real estate. And all we're doing is that we have pretensions to expand the group. And in expanding the group, we want to do it in a way that if at some point in the future we choose to list an entity it's better to do it that way from now. So we will systematically buy new real estate for the group in that company. And it's just about efficiency of capital allocation. So I know a lot of people have been asking questions, etc. around it. It's no big strategic initiative. It's just an entity that will systematically over time put all the real estate of the company into.
No, that's perfectly understandable. So I appreciate that for context. Right. So the next question, because I'm pretty sure you're interested in what's going on. So I realize that you opened the new center at Twin Gates Plaza.
Yes.
So this brings it back to a contextual question. So I understand that SVL, has its retailers who, operate independently, and then you have particular distribution centers, to call it priced and so forth. So can you make context as to the need to open additional distribution centers at different points?
Right.
And versus just using the retailers?
Yeah, so we refer to them as COCO, company owned, So what we have determined, and I'm thinking it through because I don't know how much of the strategy to let out, but one of the things that is a cost for us and also for our retailers is the movement of cash. So these large payment centers allow retailers to come in and deposit their cash. And they can do that without attracting a fee if they go through the banks. Yeah. Also, when you look on your scratch cards, your lottery cards, etc., prices above a certain amount are paid at company-owned locations. You have certain retailers that we have a higher limit for, but invariably, once it passes over $300,000, you have to come to a company location. So what that means is that if somebody wins a ticket in Warsaw, Tapa Trelawney, right, and there's only one in Crossroads, you have to go all the way to Crossroads. But so as you put them across the country in different population centers, it makes it easier for our winners to cash out. That's one. Also, two, on the mobile top-up, it helps because it's better locations. So stuff like that we would focus on. And then also we try and put them in areas where we might not have a big presence. So it generates additional income because well, as Lanzel knows, the company-owned stores, you have most of the products there. So for example, at Twin Gates, Delroy, I'll charge you for this, we will have a Makeda outlet at the Twin Gates location. So you'll be able to see Delroy and borrow some money from him at that location.
Understood. So my last set of questions. So with respect to the long-term incentive plan, page 170, note 40.
All right, so we have 5 minutes because we have the resolutions to get into and people have stuff to do with their mornings. So what page?
Page 170, note 40.
170. Yeah.
So with respect to the long-term incentive plan, is the exercise price usually a fixed value, or is there a timeline that is actually can be added to the audited financials?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, so for example, I know in most options plans or long-term incentive plans, there is more context in terms of the exercise price and so forth with respect to the shares being purchased. So what I'm basically asking was, is the exercise price usually a particular discount value, or is it constant?
So in this instance, once the executives hit their KPIs, they qualify for the stock. So the company is going to have to buy that stock off the market. So as you may or may not know, we have just recently created a trust through which, right, so we've created a trust that buys shares off the market, which will then pass those shares to the executives that qualify based on their KPIs. So one of the objectives of the trust is to try ultimately over time to get shares at a lower price, because the price fluctuates. So over time they'll get at relatively lower prices, and when an executive triggers their incentive, the trust will then pass it on to the executive at that point in time. So there isn't a specific strike price. It's just that once it becomes due, the company now has to incur the cost of acquiring those shares to provide it to the employee.
Understood. And the final question is in relation to what happened, I believe it was earlier this year with the FTC report and SBS in that legal letter to FTC. So what's going on there, and with respect to the FTC telling their report about retailers not being able to add competitors and so forth?
Retailers not what?
Retailers not being able to add competitors.
Oh, well, the FTC has not put up a final report. And if you go to the FTC's website...
But there's a legal letter sent to FTC to retract their statements.
Well, you may have heard of that. I don't know how you heard it.
I saw it.
Oh, you saw the letter?
Yes, and I saw the report.
So where you saw the letter?
And it says in a WhatsApp group.
Sorry?
So it's in a WhatsApp group.
A letter in a WhatsApp group. Well, I won't comment publicly on that. So what I'm saying is that, it hasn't been final, and so we'll wait the outcome. So they put a position, but the position hasn't been finalized. But we will take the necessary steps. So as I said, we need to move on. That's it. Thank you, guys. All right, thanks for the questions. I hope the answers met your satisfaction, and we appreciate the banter. As I said, the feedback was very important, and we'll follow up with all of them. All right, I will now ask Leighton McKnight, Managing Partner and representative from the auditing firm PwC, Chartered Accountants, to read the auditor's report on the accounts for the year ended December 31st, 2021. Leighton?
Thank you very much, Chairman Gary, other directors, members of the leadership team of the SVL Group, shareholders, staff members, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning. That sounds better. In accordance with the Jamaican Companies Act, it's my duty to read the auditor's report on the financial statements of the SVL Group for the year ended 31 December 2021. It's not the most interesting thing to read or listen to, but it's required by law, so I'm going to crave your indulgence for the next few minutes. The report is stated, it's outlined on pages 79 to 85 of the annual report, and it's addressed to the members of Supreme Ventures Limited, the report on the audit of the consolidated and standalone financial statements. It reads, in our opinion, the consolidated financial statements and the standalone financial statements give a true and fair view of the consolidated financial position of Supreme Ventures Limited, the company, in brackets, and its subsidiaries, together referred to as the group, and the standalone financial position of the company as at 31 December 2021, and of their consolidated and standalone financial performance and their consolidated and standalone cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with international financial reporting standards and with the requirements of the Jamaican Companies Act. The group consolidated and standalone financial statements comprise the following: the consolidated statement of financial position as at 31 December 2021, the consolidated statement of comprehensive income for the year then ended, the consolidated statement of changes in equity for the year then ended, the consolidated statement of cash flows for the year then ended, the company statement of financial position as at 31 December 2021, the company statement of comprehensive income for the year then ended, the company statement of changes in equity for the year then ended, the company statement of cash flows for the year then ended, and the notes to the financial statements, which include significant accounting policies and other explanatory information. We conducted our audit in accordance with international standards on auditing. Our responsibilities under those standards are further described in the auditor's responsibilities for the audit of the consolidated and standalone financial statement section of our report. We believe that the audit evidence we have obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our opinion. We are independent of the group in accordance with the International Code of Ethics for Professional Accountants, issued by the International Ethics Standards Board of Accountants. We have fulfilled our other ethical responsibilities in accordance with the respective code. As part of designing our audit and we determine materiality and assess the risk of material misstatements in the consolidated and standalone financial statements. In particular, we considered where management made subjective judgments, for example, in respect of significant accounting estimates that involve making assumptions and considering future events that are inherently uncertain. As in all our audits, we also address the risk of management override of internal controls, including, among other matters, consideration of whether there was evidence of bias that represented a risk of material misstatement due to fraud. We tailor the scope of our audit in order to perform sufficient work to enable us to provide an opinion on the consolidated financial statement as a whole, and taking into account the structure of the group, the accounting processes and controls, and the industry in which the group operates. The group is comprised of 16 components, 5 components representing inactive entities, of which we selected 4 components for full scope testing. These 4 components represent the principal business units with the group and are all Jamaican entities. A full scope audit was performed for Supreme Ventures Limited, Prime Sports Jamaica Limited, Supreme Ventures Racing and Entertainment Limited, and Supreme Ventures Services Limited, as these entities were determined to be individually financially significant. All other entities represent less than 5% of the group's profit before tax. Additionally, based on our professional judgment, Supreme Route Limited was selected and audit procedures were performed on specific transactions and balances due to the significance of certain individual amounts to the consolidated financial statements. All the in-scope components were audited by PwC Jamaica. In establishing the overall group audit strategy and plan, we determined the type of work required to be performed at the component level by the group engagement team and by the component auditors. The team members on the component audit teams performing the full scope audits were all the same as those on the group audit team. Key audit matters are those matters that in our professional judgment were of most significance in our audit of the consolidated and standalone financial statements of the current period. These matters were addressed in the context of our audit of the consolidated and standalone financial statements as a whole, and informing our opinion thereon, and we do not provide a separate opinion on these matters. The key matters are as follows, with the reasons. Goodwill accounts for $2 billion, roughly, or 11.9% of total assets for the group, and $190 million, or 2.4%, of total assets of the company as at 31 December 2021. Management performs an annual impairment analysis over the goodwill balance. The recoverable amounts of cash-generating units have been determined based on value-in-use calculations. We focus on this area as the assessment of the carrying value of goodwill involves significant judgment, and estimation is sensitive to changes in key assumptions and due to challenges involved in determining the impact of COVID-19 on these assumptions. The key assumptions were assessed by management as being pre-tax discount rate, terminal value growth rate, and EBITDA growth rate in the terminal year. We tested management's assumption used in the impairment testing model for goodwill, including the future cash flows, projections, discount rate, and growth rates applied. With the assistance of our valuation experts, we performed the following procedures. Obtain management's discounted cash flow model, including qualitative and quantitative analyses, and obtain an understanding of the process used by management to determine value in use of each cash-generating unit. Agree the 31 December 2021 base year financial information to current year results and compare the previous forecast to actual results to assess the performance of business and the accuracy of management's forecasting. Tested management's assumptions, including the impact of COVID-19 on those assumptions as follows. Pre-tax discount rate. We evaluated the reasonableness of management determined rate by independently recalculating the rate. Terminal growth rate. Evaluated management's terminal value, where we developed a range of parameters using available market inputs and historical information, and performed sensitivity analyses using the parameters to determine the reasonableness of management assumption. EBITDA growth rate in the terminal year. We compare the growth rate to historical EBITDA growth and evaluated management estimated growth and evaluated management's estimated future growth rates, which included an assessment of management's business plans. We further check management's impairment testing model calculations for mathematical accuracy and consider the sensitivity of calculation by varying the key assumptions and adjustment within management's forecast. Based on the procedures performed, management's assumptions and judgments relating to the carrying value of goodwill, in our view, were not unreasonable. Move on to investment properties. Investment properties represented 841 million or 4.9% of the total assets of the group as at 31 December 2021. Determination of the fair value of investment properties requires significant judgment and is inherently subjective due to, among other factors, the individual nature of each property, its location, and the expected future rental income for each property. This, combined with the fact that a small percentage difference in individual property valuation assumptions when aggregated could result in a material misstatement, is why we are focused on this area. Management, with the assistance of independent valuation experts, use different methods to value the group's two investment properties as follows. For the first property, the market comparison approach was combined with a residual approach to determine the fair value. The market comparison approach relies on suitable and substantial sales evidence of comparable properties with the geographic location, adjusting for certain pertinent factors to form a basis for comparison. The residual approach is based on the residue or difference between the gross development value of the highest and best used development of the site, less its gross development cost. For the second property, the investment approach was used. The investment approach capitalizes the net income from the investment over the projected useful life and takes into consideration a number of factors which require estimation and judgment. The key factors include estimation of rental income, determination of capitalization rate, and discount rates. We engage independent qualified valuation experts to assist us in evaluating the work of management experts. With the aid of our valuation experts, we perform the following procedures. 1. We evaluated the competence and objectivity of management experts. This included confirming that they are appropriately qualified and are not affiliated to the group. We obtain an understanding of the valuation method used by management along with significant development within the industry. This included evaluating the appropriateness of the valuation methodology used and its suitability for determining market value in accordance with the financial reporting framework. We evaluated management's assumption for the market comparison approach by performing comparisons of properties within similar geographical locations. We assessed the appropriateness of the inputs used in the residual approach in determining the gross development value and the gross development cost, with focus on the capital value per square foot and basic building costs. This involved evaluating and the inputs against suitable market information. We agree the inputs used in the investment approach to relevant market information for the key factors being the estimation of rental income, the capitalization factor, and discount rates. Based on the procedures performed, management's assumptions and judgment relating to the valuation of investment properties, in our view, were not unreasonable. Management is responsible for the other information. The other information comprises the annual report, but does not include the consolidated and standalone financial statement and our auditor's report thereon, and is expected to be made available to us after the date of the auditor's report. Our opinion on the consolidated and standalone financial statement does not cover the other information, and we do not express any form of assurance conclusion thereon. In connection with the audit of the consolidated and standalone financial statements, our responsibility is to read the other information identified above when it becomes available, and in so doing, consider whether the other information is materially inconsistent with the consolidated and standalone financial statement or our knowledge obtained in the audit, or whether otherwise appears to be materially misstated. When we read the annual report, if we conclude that there is a material misstated therein, we are required to communicate the matter to those charged with governance. We read the report and we saw no such misstatements. Management is responsible for the preparation and the consolidated standalone financial statements that give a true and fair view in accordance with international financial reporting standards and the requirements of the Jamaican Companies Act, and for such internal control as management determines is necessary to enable the preparation of consolidated and standalone financial statements that are free from material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error. In preparing the consolidated and standalone financial statements, management is responsible for assessing the group and the company's ability to continue as a going concern, disclosing as applicable matters related to going concern, using the going concern basis of accounting unless management either intends to liquidate the group or the company or cease operations or has no realistic alternative but to do so. Those charged with governance are responsible for overseeing the group and company's financial reporting processes. Our objectives are to obtain reasonable assurance about whether the consolidated and standalone financial statement as a whole are free from material misstatement, whether due to fraud or error, and to issue an auditor's report that includes our position. Reasonable assurance is a high level of assurance, but it's not a guarantee that an audit conducted in accordance with international standards on auditing will always detect a material misstatement when it exists. Misstatements can arise from fraud or error and are considered material if individually or in aggregate they could reasonably be expected to influence the economic decision of users taken on the basis of these consolidated and standalone financial statements. As part of an audit in accordance with international standards on auditing, we exercise professional judgment and maintain professional skepticism throughout the audit. We also do the following: identify and assess the risk of material misstatement of the consolidated and standalone financial statements, whether due to fraud or error, design and perform audit procedures responsive to those risks, and obtain audit evidence that is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our opinion. The risk of not detecting a material misstatement resulting from fraud is higher than for one resulting from error, as fraud may involve collusion, forgery, intentional omissions, misrepresentation, or override of internal control. We obtain an understanding of internal control relevant to the audit in order to design audit procedures that are appropriate in the circumstances, but not for the purposes of expressing an opinion on the effectiveness of the group and company's internal controls. We evaluate the appropriateness of accounting policies used and reasonableness of accounting estimates and related disclosures made by management. We conclude on the appropriateness of management's use of the going concern basis of accounting and based on the audit evidence obtained, whether a material uncertainty exists related to events or conditions that may cause significant doubt on the group or company's ability to continue as a going concern. If we conclude that a material uncertainty exists, we are required to draw attention in our audit report to the related disclosures in the consolidated and standalone financial statements, or if such disclosures are inadequate to modify our audit opinion. Our conclusions are based on the audit evidence obtained up to the date of our auditor's report. However, future events or conditions may cause the group or company to cease to continue as a going concern. We evaluate the overall presentation, structure and content of the consolidated and standalone financial statements, including disclosures on whether the consolidated and standalone financial statements represent the underlying transactions and events in a manner that achieve fair presentations. We obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence regarding the financial information of the entities or business activities within the group to express an opinion on the consolidated financial statements. We are responsible for the direction, supervision, and performance of the group audit. We remain solely responsible for our audit opinion. We communicate with those charged with governance regarding, among other matters, the planned scope and timing of the audit and significant audit findings, including any significant deficiencies in internal control that we identified during our audit. We also provide those charged with governance with a statement that we have complied with relevant ethical requirements regarding independence and to communicate with them all relationships and other matters that may reasonably be thought to bear on our independence, and where applicable, actions taken to eliminate threats or safeguards applied. Almost there. From the matters communicated with those charged with governance, we determine those matters that were of most significance in the audit of the consolidated and standalone financial statements of the current period and are therefore the key audit matters. We describe these matters in our audit report unless law or regulation precludes public disclosure about the matter, or when, in an extremely rare circumstance, we determine that a matter should not be communicated in our report because the adverse consequences of doing so would reasonably be expected to outweigh the public interest benefits of such communication. Final paragraph. As required by the Jamaican Companies Act, we have obtained all the information and explanations to which, to the best of our knowledge and belief, were necessary for the purposes of our audit. In our opinion, proper accounting records have been kept so far as appears from our examination of those records, and the accompanying consolidated and standalone financial statements are in agreement therewith and give the information required by the Jamaican Companies Act in the manner so required. The engagement partner on this audit, resulting in this independent auditor's report, is yours truly, Leighton McKnight. The report is signed PricewaterhouseCoopers, Chartered Accountants. We signed on the 28th of February 2022, Kingston, Jamaica. I hope that for the person who asked the question, justify the audit fees, because you realize a lot of work. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Leighton. Jesus, I feel it for you. Last year, I think you mentioned you're lobbying the association. Hopeful. Okay, no problem. So that means then the audit fee can roll back? All right, sir, no problem. Well done. Thank you, Leighton. The Director's report on audited accounts for the year ended 31st December 2021 have been circulated. They have been in your hands for the customary period, and I ask that the meeting take them as read. Shareholders, we now move to the business of the meeting. I will now ask that the Secretary read the first resolution.
that the audited group accounts for the year ended December 31, 2021, and the reports of the directors and auditors circulated with the notice convening the meeting be and are hereby adopted.
Will a shareholder move this motion? Mr. David Rose, I'm doing your work. You're supposed to sit up. So it's moved by David Rose. Will a shareholder second this motion? Mr. Ellis? Arthur Ellison. Apologies, sir. I now put the motion before the meeting. Please signify in the usual way by raising hands. Those in favor? Those against? I declare the motion carried. I now ask the Secretary to read the second resolution.
Resolution 2, that the interim dividends per stock unit of 2 cents per stock unit paid on May 21, 2021, and 21 cents per stock unit paid on August 24, 2021, 11 cents per stock unit paid on November 18, 2021, and 26 cents per stock unit paid on March 29, 2022, be and are hereby ratified and declared as final on the recommendation of the directors, and that no further dividend be paid in respect of the year under review.
Excuse me, Chairman. I thought you said 2 cents.
It was an error. It's 20.
Very good. I was wondering
it's 20 cents.
What happened to the rest?
Sure.
My apologies. 20 cents.
It's 20 cents. Will a shareholder move this motion? David Rose. Will a shareholder second this motion? Lancel to the party. Lancel Bloomfield. I now put a motion before the meeting. Please signify in the usual way by raising hands. Those in favor? Those against? Let's do it again. Those in favor? Those against? Okay, I declare the motion carried. In accordance with Articles 105 and 106 of the Company's Articles of Incorporation, the directors retiring from office by rotation are Messrs. Brent Sankar, Peter McConnell, and W. David McConnell, and being eligible, offer themselves for re-election. The Secretary will now read resolutions 3A, 3B, and 3C.
Resolution 3A, that Mr. Brent Sankar, retiring pursuant to Articles 105 and 106 of the Articles of Incorporation, be and is hereby re-elected.
Will a shareholder move this motion? David Rose. Will a shareholder second this motion? Lancel Bloomfield. I now put the motion before the meeting. I now put the motion before the meeting. Please signify in the usual way by raising hands. All in favor? Those against? I declare the motion carried. Congrats, Mr. Sankar.
Resolution 3B, that Mr. Peter McConnell, retiring pursuant to Articles 105 and 106 of the Articles of Incorporation, be and is hereby re-elected.
Will a shareholder move this motion? David Rose. Will a shareholder second this motion? Gary Peart. Those in favor? Those against? I declare the motion carried.
Resolution 3C, that Mr. W. David McConnell, retiring pursuant to Articles 105 and 106 of the Articles of Incorporation, be and is hereby re-elected.
Will a shareholder move this motion? David Rose, Formula One. Will a shareholder second this motion? Dennis Chung. I now put the motion before the meeting. Please signify in the usual way by raising hands. Those in favor? Those against? I declare the motion carried. I will ask the Secretary to read Resolution 4A and 4B.
Resolution 4A, that the directors be and are hereby empowered to fix the remuneration of the executive directors.
Will a shareholder move this motion? David Rose. Will a shareholder second this motion? Lorna Gooden. I now put a motion before the meeting. Please signify in the usual way by raising hands. Those in favor? Those against? I declare the motion carried.
Resolution 4B, that the amount shown in the audited accounts of the company for the year ended December 31, 2021, as remuneration of the directors for their services be and is hereby approved.
Will David Rose move this motion? Thank you, David. Will a shareholder second this motion? Lancel Broomfield. I now put the motion before the meeting. Please signify in the usual way by raising hands. All in favor? Any against? I declare the motion carried. Secretary will now read Resolution 5.
Resolution 5, that PricewaterhouseCoopers, having signified their willingness to serve, be and are hereby appointed as auditors of the company until the conclusion of the next annual general meeting at a remuneration to be fixed by the directors.
Before we ask David Rose to move the motion, I just want to, on behalf of Supreme Ventures, thank Mr. Leighton McKnight. I understand that he retires next month, and we want to thank you for the service that you have given for us. We wish you well on your retirement, and I'm sure we will see each other soon. Well done, sir. Mr. Rose? Thank you. Shareholder move the motion. David Rose, the shareholder second the motion. Name? Sorry? Mr. Sams? Okay. What's your first name? Sorry? Stephen Sams. What happened? You're right under the lights. I can't see you. All right, Stephen. Thank you very much. Those in favor? Those against? I declare the motion carried. To amend the company's articles of incorporation to include general meetings by hybrid or virtual-only meetings. The Secretary will now read Special Resolution 6. Yeah?
Resolution 6. Be it resolved that the articles of incorporation of the company be and are hereby amended as follows. 1. By inserting in their correct alphabetical order sequence the following definitions in Article 1. Hybrid meeting shall mean a meeting held simultaneously by electronic means as well as at a physical venue in which attendees, whether by electronic means or present in person, simultaneously attend and participate in the proceedings of the meeting in real time. Poll shall include a poll through or by electronic means. Show of hands includes a show of hands through or by electronic means. Virtual-only meeting shall mean a meeting in which the attendees participate from numerous physical locations, whether inside or outside of Jamaica, through the facility of the internet or intranet, by use of integrated audio and video, chat and messaging tools, and application sharing software by electronic means. 2, by deleting Article 5 and substituting it with the following. 5, if at any time the share capital is divided into different classes of shares, the rights attached to any class, unless otherwise provided by the terms of issue of the shares of that class, may, whether or not the company is being wound up, be varied with the consent in writing of the holders of a 3/4 of the issued shares of that class, or with the sanction of an extraordinary resolution passed at a separate general meeting of the holders of the shares of the class. To every such separate general meeting, the provisions of these regulations relating to general meetings shall apply, but so that the necessary quorum shall be 2 persons, at least holding or representing by proxy 1/3 of the issued shares of the class, and that any holder of shares of the class present in person, participating by electronic means or by proxy may demand a poll. 3, by deleting Article 16E and substituting it with the following. E, if one of the joint holders of any share, for the time being conferring a right to vote, may vote either personally, by electronic means, or by proxy at any meeting in respect of such share as if they were solely entitled thereto, providing that if more than one of such joint holders be present in any meeting, either personally, by electronic means, or by proxy, the person whose name stands first in the register as one of such holders and no other shall be entitled to vote in respect of the said shares. 4, by inserting immediately after Article 53 the following new article as 53A. 53A, the general meeting may be held as a hybrid meeting or virtual-only meeting. 5, by inserting immediately after Article 56 the following new articles as 56A, 56B, and 56C. 56A, where a general meeting is called under Article 56, the notice of the meeting may be served in writing, electronically, in accordance with Article 147A, and in the absence of any notification of failure of delivery, shall be deemed to have been received not less than 24 hours from the time the notice was served. 56B, in the case of a notice served electronically, pursuant to Article 56A, the 21 days and 14 days notification shall be exclusive of the day on which the notice was received and the day on which the meeting is to be held. 56C, notwithstanding the provisions of Article 56, where the general meeting is called as a virtual-only meeting, the notice is not required to specify the venue on the meeting. 6, by inserting the words or participating by electronic means after the words 3 members present in person and before the words shall be a quorum at Article 60. 7, by inserting participating by electronic means after the words present in person and before the words or by proxy at Articles 64B and 64C, respectively. 8, by inserting immediately after Article 68 the following new article as 68A. 68A, where a general meeting is held as provided in Article 53A, unless a poll is demanded, votes at the meeting shall be cast by any of the following methods selected by the chairman of the meeting. A, a voting software installed on each participant's device. B, a device specifically created for voting. C, an audio-visual device to participate in the meeting. D, any other method permitted by the articles of the company. 9, by deleting Article 69 and substituting it with the following. 69, subject to any special terms as to voting upon which any shares or class of shares may for the time being be held upon a show of hands, every member present in person, participating by electronic means or by proxy, shall have one vote, and upon a poll, every member present in person, participating by electronic means or by proxy, shall have one vote for every share held by him. Nothing herein contained shall be deemed to affect the existing rights attaching to the issued shares in the company or any class thereof. 10. By deleting Article 72 and substituting it with the following. 72. All votes may be given either personally, by electronic means, or by proxy, but no member shall be entitled to appoint more than one proxy to attend on the same occasion. 11. By inserting immediately after Article 147 the following new article as 147A. 147A. A notice sent by electronic means shall be sent to the email address and facsimile transmission number or otherwise in accordance with the instructions of the member for service of the notice, and B, be deemed to have been received by the intended recipient after 24 hours from the time the notice was served, if there is no notification of a failure of delivery during that period.
Will David Rose move this motion? Thank you. Will a shareholder second this motion? What's your name, first and last? Sorry? Marcia Nichols? Okay. I don't put a motion before the meeting. Those in favor? Those against? I declare the motion carried. I put on my glasses while I go. Probably my eyes seeing and things. So, is it me or the lights? Yeah, see that? What's going on now? That's not me. The motion was carried. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. We have come to the end, and I want to thank you for joining us, and we look forward to your continued support. Please join us for refreshments just outside the room. Keep safe. Continue to practice the recommended health and safety protocols, and we look forward to seeing you again next year. Thank you.